website and its bulletin board in accordance with all provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Also, we hear no new testimony on applications after 9:30 p.m., and we adjourn at 10 p.m. sharp. Practice of this board to salute the flag. Please rise and join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkeldy,
Present.
Michael Josephic,
Here.
Richard LaRufa,
Here.
Richard Rawbacker,
Here.
Mark Scott,
Here.
Lana Teneri,
Here.
Jennifer Pinaha,
Here.
Chairman Kenneth Larry,
Here.
Glenn Keynes.
Here.
Thank you. Have one announcement tonight. If residents of Sparta haven't already accessed the Master Plan Community Hub website and the survey there on Sparta Township's website, please do so. You can make comments, ask questions, have some type of input into how you like the new master plan to be developed. We already had close to 1,000, if not over 1,000 responses to this date. And also our planning board chairman and master plan committee chairman, Ron Day, is here tonight. And Ron, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to add any other comments in regards to the community hub and survey and where we are at this time, feel free.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say, thanks to the people that have completed the survey. We really do want input from everybody that we can get. Right now, we're looking at, I guess, 2 more days, so if you haven't had a chance to do the application or the survey, please take the time and do it, because your opinions really count to us. And again, thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ron. Thank you, too, for everything. We have some minutes to be approved tonight. First one's January 10th, 2024. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkeldy,
Yes.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lana Teneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. We also have February 28th, 2024 minutes to be approved. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rawbacker,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lana Teneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. Also have June 12th, 2024 minutes to be approved. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rawbacker,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lana Teneri,
Yes.
and Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. We also have July 10th, 2024 minutes to be approved. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkeldy,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rawbacker,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lana Teneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes, and the last one, October 9th, 2024. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
This was the last meeting, correct?
Yes.
There was, when we were talking about the East Shore Trail application, I asked the question at the end of the session, if there had been any change in the plans between the Sabine Watson Lake Mohawk letter being issued and the date, which I believe was April 4th, give or take, and November 1st, which was the day that Anand Dash wrote his letter requesting that this board review this, and that Lake Mohawk get a chance to review it again. And I asked the applicant twice if there had been any change. And the answer in both cases was no. And that's not reflected in the record.
So what you would like, Mr. Scott, I'm sorry, what you would like is to just have something added along the lines of your statement. That's all you're asking, right, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all you need is, that would be your motion to just amend it. All we need is a second then, and then you could adopt the minutes with those, and she could just add it to it.
Okay, thank you.
If that's the consensus of the board.
Do we have a second on Mrs. Scott's?
Second.
Amendment? Any other discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkelty,
Yes.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Michael Leondi, oh, excuse me, Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lana Teneri.
Am I eligible to vote on this?
Were you here?
Yes.
Yeah, I was, but I wasn't a voting member, or I wasn't voting at that meeting.
That's all right, you're still,
minutes,
it's minutes, so you're
Okay.
still administratively
So-
allowed and expected to do that.
So yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes, thank you. We have one resolution to be memorialized, application 14-24,
Can I ask you a
Richard
question?
Shinnick for C variance relief. The chair will entertain a motion.
Make the motion.
Second,
You're not gonna
please.
ask it?
A second in terms of memorializing the
Second.
Richard Shinnick. Thank you. Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Are we voting on it now?
John Finkelty,
Yes.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
I'm going to abstain.
Mark Scott,
No.
Just,
It's,
I just want to make sure we're voting for the right reasons, and I'm not telling you how to vote, but you can certainly abstain if you don't like the way the resolution was written or anything else. If you didn't vote in favor of the resolution, of the application, then your name isn't called on the resolution. So I can't remember, Mark, did you vote for the application or against it?
I did vote for the application with the information I knew at that point in
Okay.
time.
All right, so that's
But
fine.
but I know new information, and I'm changing my opinion on it.
That's fine. So you're certainly entitled, I wanted to make sure that the reasons were correct. So that's fine on both of those.
Can we ask questions at this moment? Can I just ask one question about the,
we actually took the vote already.
no, I'm not asking a question about the resolution. I'm asking a question about the process. The process is, if you know that if when someone is testifying here in front of us, after they've been sworn in, and you find out subsequently that something may have been misstated or incorrectly stated or wasn't truthful, what happens? What's the penalty? What's the go to jail thing? What?
Well, in the great game of Monopoly, technically, they still pass go. But the bottom line is that if there's testimony on there, they could certainly be asked to come in and re-clarify it under your rules and regulations. And I think it's Rule 701, as I remember it, of the board's bylaws. If it was a material fact and it changed the opinion of the board could, on its own motion, reopen the matter if it was that material. So I think those are your two main options. In this case, it's my understanding, and Marissa or somebody can correct me, or Dave can correct me, I thought that they were getting a letter from Mohawk that was going to kind of fall into place or not really change the decision of the board. Now, I don't know whether that's 100% accurate, but I thought that's what I heard, Mark.
I don't know the answer to that.
So I don't know that certainly was not apparently an accurate statement that was made that night. But the question is, does it have a material effect on the board's decision? They're still going to have to comply with Mohawk anyway when they go through the Marissa and Dave process anyway. And now, Dave has a heads up, Marissa has a heads up too, and
Okay.
construction department will also be looking at it, Mark.
Okay, just wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay?
One more is check.
The applications on the agenda tonight are the following. 24-2394, 95, Perona Realty Corporation for both C and D variances. 16-24, Eric and Allison Erler for C variance relief. Application 17-24, John Randy Earl for C variance relief. And 18-24, Ryan and Kristen Flynn for C variance relief. Two applications will be carried tonight. The Sussex County Charter School Tech for D variance relief will be carried to the December 11th, 2024 meeting with with renotice necessary. And also Tor Anderson, application 13-23 for D variance relief will be carried to the December 11th meeting without further notice, Glenn?
Without further notice, it should just be stated on the record that counsel for the applicant on the Anderson called me, and his client was hospitalized even as we were speaking. So his client couldn't be here, so he was questioning whether he should come. And I said, I would suggest you just put it off because the board kind of likes to do everything in one shot. So he said that would be fine. Just please announce it and protect my notice.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Also, after the applications are heard tonight, I'll open the hearing to the public for any comments and questions they may have on items not on the agenda tonight. So, Perona Farm Realty, please come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, professionals, and staff. My name is Robert McBriar. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Skink, Price, Smith & King, and I represent the applicant this evening, Perona Realty Corporation. This application tonight involves two parcels. The first is 70 Perona Road, which is owned by the
Excuse me,
applicant.
Mr. Bariah, we'll get the formal issues out of the way. Glenn, would you mind qualifying, I guess, Mr. Dykstra, as usual, and swearing him in?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Dykstra, you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
Who are you?
Kenneth Dykstra, D-Y-K-S-T-R-A, Office 21 Bowling Green Parkway in Jefferson.
And what are you?
I'm a New Jersey licensed professional engineer, professional planner, and land surveyor.
And have you ever appeared before this board?
Yes,
Countless times.
true, yes,
And is your license valid as of tonight?
yes,
And the board was willing to accept your professional qualifications in all of those areas, is that right, Ken?
that's right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, he's all yours.
Ms. Bariah, you have anyone else here that will be testifying tonight or not?
If there are questions, Brian Avendolio is also here as a fact witness, so we could have him sworn in the case there's any questions from members of the board or the public.
We'll do him later, Mr. Chairman, I'm not so sure what we can.
All right, thank you. And just, when you're finished with your application, we'll then open it to our board professionals and the board members here for any comments and questions we will have. And after we're finished, we'll open it to the public if they have any questions in regards to the application. And also for the record, you know, it's a D variance besides a C variance, and you will have to have 5 affirmative votes to pass it, of course. If it is passed, the variance is tied to the land in perpetuity, as you probably know.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, how can we help you?
Again, thank you. Tonight's application involves two parcels, the first being 70 Perona Road, which is owned by the applicant. It's identified on the tax maps as Block 4006, Lot 14, and contains approximately 4.3 acres. The second parcel is 14 Carriage House Road, owned by Sparta Township. It's identified as Block 4006, Lot 31, and contains approximately 8.9 acres. Both are located in the township's RR zone. As many of you here are aware, Perona operates a premier restaurant, catering, wedding, and special events banquet facility. It's located in Sparta and Andover Townships along Andover-Sparta Road. The property and business have been family-owned and operated since 1917 and is one of the oldest continually operating businesses in the county. The venue serves as a preferred event location for local organizations, schools, charities, newlyweds, county residents, nonprofits, and business organizations. This board will recall that on December 14th of 2022, it adopted Resolution 21-22, memorializing its unanimous approval of a use variance and amended site plan approval for a number of improvements at the subject premises, commonly known as the barn at Perona Farms. During that approval process, it was discovered that a small portion of pavement and woodshed extended beyond the property line shared with Sparta Township. To resolve the encroachment issue, the applicant and township agreed that it would be in the best interest of the parties for the township to convey 0.292 acres containing both minor improvements to the applicant. This carve-out, we believe, represents the minimum reasonably necessary to maintain those existing improvements. On December 12th, 2023, the Township Council adopted Ordinance 23-22, which authorized the sale of that limited acreage. And in April of 2024, the Township Council passed Resolution 2485, approving a contract of sale to effectuate that conveyance. And per the contract, the portion being purchased will be merged with the applicant's property. Additionally, it will be deed restricted to allow only the existing improvements, which can be repaired or replaced, but not enlarged or expanded. The application, this application was reviewed by the Sussex County Development Review Committee, which has determined that the proposal will not impact the county road network, county drainage, or county-owned property. And we are here this evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, to request amended site plan approval and minor subdivision via lot line adjustment, D-variance relief to permit the expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming use and related C-variance relief. Mr. Dykstra was previously sworn in as an expert in the fields of engineering and planning, and I would ask him at this time, Mr. Chairman, for him to describe the site plan that was filed in support of the application and to supplement the record with any planning testimony regarding the requested variances.
Mr. Chairman, could we just do a couple of things, because maybe we can simplify this a little bit? First off, that's going to be marked as A1, is that right, Ken?
Yes,
And that's a colored subdivision plan?
it's the colorized version of sheet two of the plan set that was submitted to the board, titled As-Built Site Plan Lot Line Adjustment, last revised May 16, 2024.
Okay, now, do you agree with all the statements that were made by counsel on this one? Did he do a reasonably good job in portraying what the application is?
Yes, he did.
You always say that, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this application, in effect, and Dave, I need your help a little bit too, because I think this can really be focused in on. This application, in effect, is perfecting or correcting some pre-existing encroachments. You've already gone to the governing body. The governing body's already given you their blessing to move ahead. You're not proposing any new development as part of this. This is just incorporating the 0.292 acre parcel into your parcel. But all of the technicalities, because technically you're expanding the property by 0.92 or 292 acres, that's the only reason that you're here. Is that correct?
That is indeed correct, and the only addition is...
Hey, pull the mic closer to you, bud.
I'm sorry,
That's
Counselor.
okay.
That is indeed correct, and that acreage includes those two encroachments, so that was the intent.
So that's your application?
That is.
Although you had to make all the other stuff?
That's correct.
And you have resolutions on file with the board dealing with those use variances, and all of the reasons that you had at that time stayed the same. And in effect, and Dave, if this is a misstatement, please correct it. You caught this during the last application and said, geez, I think you ought to fix it while the fixing is good. And that's essentially what they did, and that's why they're here tonight.
Correct.
So
You covered a lot there, Glenn. What's left to do?
I
only
think,
joking.
I think Ken could put a little bit of testimony on, but I don't know that we have to get into, we could take judicial notice, if you were so inclined, judicial notice of the previous approvals that were granted, so that they're just correcting a situation that's probably existed since
1917,
1917.
that's what I'll say.
All right, that's as good a guess as anyone, but Ken may have a better guess. I don't know. So I don't know whether the board's all right with that. I'm just trying to save some time. If in fact, if you want more testimony, I'm not saying that you can't get it and you can't ask as many questions as you want. But I think that's really the application in essence.
Or how does the rest of the board feel about what Glenn just discussed?
I take no issue with less testimony. It's been approved. You've guided us through this process before, so.
All right, thank you, John. Do you have anything else you want to add, Mr. McBride? If not, we'll get to our board engineer, David Simmons' report.
Not from me. I don't want to deprive Mr. Dykstra, at least,
Dykstra.
being able to put a little bit of explanation on the record. You want to just briefly
You're not
review the
depriving
plan?
me, but nevertheless, I will just say this, the lot is a 5.2 acre lot split.
Move the mic to Mr.
Yeah, a little
Dykstra, please.
The subject property is 5.2 acres, split between Andover and Sparta. And since I guess the 2022 approval, we dedicated some land to the county as 0.03 acres for right-of-way. So there's a little bit of widening, so the property size is now 5.17 acres. And we're adding, as Glenn mentioned, the .292 acres from the 9-acre Sparta parcel, and that makes the property now 5.46 acres. So effectively, all our coverages and everything else actually were reduced, and there's no changes to the use or the development whatsoever. So, that's all I really have to say. This is actually improves the situation for the property and corrects the encroachment issue.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dykstra. David, would you be so kind to go over your report?
Surely, Mr. Chairman. Referring to the report I prepared dated July 29, 2024, just a couple items I'd like to point out just so it's on the record. On page 2 of the report, I just point out with regards to some bulk variances, the C variances, so everyone's on that same page in the record. With regards after the subdivision with the rear yard setback, 75 foot is required. Existing is before the subdivision is 22.4, but even after the subdivision, it's 62 feet as shown on sheet 2, so that's still a variance. And with regards to the impervious coverage, as Mr. Dykstra said, their impervious coverage does go down from existing 22% to 21%, but it's still above the 10% maximum, so we call that out as a variance. The other thing I'd just like to point out is in item 3C, I pointed out with regards to the wood shed, the rear yard required 15-foot minimum. I scaled off 10 foot, and the side yard, 15-foot minimum, I scaled off 4 foot. I don't know if Mr. Dykstra has a more exact number on those two.
Yes, we actually surveyed, located that shed, and it's actually just slightly more than 10 and slightly more than 4, so the 10 and the 4 are acceptable setbacks.
So we can hold them?
Yeah, we can hold them.
Okay. Just wanted to double check that. Again, as the council and Mr. Dykstra pointed out, this lot overall is in 2 municipalities, Andover Township and Sparta. And I pointed out that I wasn't sure, and Glenn could answer this, if they have to get approval from Andover Township as well.
There was a resolution that was probably in your office as well as mine, since we have partners that represent Andover Township. And Andover was at least aware of all the plans, and certainly your office looked at it, so I don't think there's anything new. So I don't think there's any reason to, David.
Okay, no problem. With regards to the site plan, again, there were right-of-way dedications, as Mr. Dykstra pointed out, that the county had taken care of. And since it's in Andover Township, that was handled by another engineer from our office and/or the county. So I didn't comment any further on it. There's no additional storm drainage. Lighting, I don't believe, is proposed to be changed based on the discussion held here tonight. And with regards to the architectural plan, landscape, and what have you, I don't believe anything else has changed since the last time the board heard this application. Just skipping down, because basically the utilities, signs, and the EIS are basically the same thing. They're not changing anything. I did review the description for the proposed annexation onto the main lot in Sparta Township. And basically, I just highlighted in the last page the other approvals that I believe would either be required or would have to have letters of no interest obtained. And finally, this map, I believe, because there's nothing new, is also going to serve as the as-built for the plan. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Marissa, could you just call on the board members if they have any questions at this point or not in regards to David's report or anything else?
John Finkelty,
No questions.
Michael Josephic,
No questions.
Richard LaRufa,
No questions.
Richard Rohrbacher,
No questions.
Mark Scott,
No questions.
Landon Tanieri,
No questions.
Jennifer Pinaha,
No questions.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
No questions, just for Mr. McBride and Mr. Dykstra. So you agree with everything in David's report, correct?
Yes,
All
yes.
right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question of David, I guess. Do they, given the way the plan is, and you're probably most familiar with it, and certainly Kenny can chime in, do they actually need site plan approval for what they're doing? Or is it just a preliminary, is it a major subdivision or a minor?
It was a minor subdivision.
I think so, too.
And I was just going to suggest that they include site plan approval as an amendment, because we are basically memorializing the encroachment of pavement in the shed into this property as well.
All right, is it a minor or a preliminary and final site plan?
Preliminary and final.
Thank you.
Because as I understand it, nothing's changing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Glenn. I'll open it to the public now. If anyone has any comments or questions on this application, please come forward.
Jesse Woloski. I'd like to
If
make 2
you're so
points.
kind, sir, could you give your name and address to the secretary?
I'd give Jesse Woloski, but not my address. You know,
Your
due
name?
to
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Jesse Woloski.
Woloski?
Yeah, Sparta resident.
Address?
223.
Do we need the address for the
No,
record?
I mean, with the whole thing with the person killing the judge's son and everything now is not public record. I don't know why would somebody give an address in a public forum when
We
all this
generally
public
do,
address
but let me
is-
ask you a question. Are you within 200 feet of the property?
No.
So what is your interest in this application?
I'm here at a meeting, and this is a public meeting, and I just want to make 2 corrections.
All right, let's hear him.
Okay, so the encroach,
I don't think he's you're going to, yeah, raise your right hand.
Just to
Thanks,
be
Ken.
sure.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
yes,
How do you spell your last name, Jesse?
WOLOSKY.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Jess.
So the encroachment of the barn was built not from 1917. So it was just built like maybe 20, 30 years ago? But that's not an issue. The other point that I want to make is, what's the block and lot in Sparta that it's encroaching on?
My first comment is the barn is not extending beyond the property line. It's just the portion of the pavement and the woodshed.
Right.
The block and lot of the township parcel is 4006 Lot 31.
4006?
That's correct.
So my suggestion to Perona Farm is to make an offer to Sparta to buy the land, because the administrator is very in favor of selling contiguous land to owners. So that's the 2 points that I want to make, that the barn wasn't built in 1917, and that the applicant should consider buying the contiguous vacant piece of land, because the administrator is very encouraging people in town to buy the contiguous vacant lands that are in the name of Sparta Township. That's it. Those are the 2 points I want to make.
Thank you, Jesse. How do you respond to that?
Just the comments that I said, the barn isn't encroaching over the property line. As we indicated, it's just the pavement and that, the small woodshed. And we've identified correctly the block and lot. But I appreciate the comments, Mr. Wolosky. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again, Jesse. Anyone else in the public who'd like to make a comment or question? Seeing no one else, it's now closed to the public. And back to the board to entertain a motion to approve this application.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I don't know all the technicalities.
I don't think there are many technicalities on
I
this
think
one.
that would be up to the chairman.
If you're so kind, Richard, I'll
Go ahead.
make an amendment to your motion to approve the application. So we'll have our board attorney prepare the resolution approving application 2395. Boy, let's see. Block 4006, lots 13 and 14, and in Block 406, Lot 31. For use variance, preliminary and final site plan, C variance, relief, and just for the record, the rear yard variance would be 13 feet, and correct me, David, if I am wrong. Impervious coverage would be 11%, rear yard would be 5 feet, and side yard 11 feet.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Also, that the applicant adhere to all points in our board engineer's report. Also provide as-built plans after the project is completed and signed by a licensed New Jersey surveyor, according to all plans and testimony submitted here tonight. And Richard, would you accept those amendments?
Yes,
to the-
yes.
Glendon, is everything covered there?
I think it's all covered. Those are all variances that we never granted before on any of this Perona stuff.
Not 100% sure, but I don't think it hurts since we now have the
We'll
information.
put them in. I'll check it just to make sure, because you may have granted it on previous applications. So Dave and I will talk about
All
that.
right,
But that's
thank you.
fine, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I told you it wasn't simple.
Do I have a second to the?
Second.
Any discussion? No. Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkelty,
Yes.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Landon Teneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. And congratulations, it's been approved.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're
Chairman,
welcome.
members of the board, council professionals, and staff. Have a great evening.
you.
Maurice, do you want him to leave that, or you want him to take it? The exhibit?
Oh, you can leave it if you like. It's fine.
You can,
Oh, thank you.
Giving you the board?
you know, he gets like this sometimes.
The board. That's expensive.
Usually you don't want them, though, that's too many boards.
fun to hire somebody to offer that you knew. I didn't want you to feel like an outlier. That's all.
Okay, next application, 16-24, Eric and Allison Erler for C variance relief. Please come forward. And Eric, I assume you're Eric?
I am.
Okay. Please speak clearly and directly into the microphone, since we need recordings for the state of New Jersey. And Glenn, would you like to?
Sure, sir.
swear
Would
him
you
in?
stand and raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
And who might you be?
I'm Eric Erler, resident Sparta, 40 Morningstar Drive.
And you're the applicant on this?
Indeed.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. And Eric, after you're finished, we'll open it to our board engineer and the board members, and then to the public.
Sure. I apologize. I didn't bring my easel and board.
How can we help you?
So I placed an application for zoning variance C. I'd like to install a covered firewood storage and garden shed along my property line, approximately a foot off of the property line. The other part of the variance is that it would be 4 accessory structures on the property.
You received a copy of the October 16th report of Dave Simmons, did you not?
I did.
Okay, great.
Okay, go ahead, proceed.
Okay, so the property sits on a lot of ledge rock, and I do a lot of my own, garden work and household work. So I have tools and lawnmowers and all kinds of stuff that need the space. It has to be on that side of the property because of the ledge rock and the slope. I can't install it on the, I guess it's the east side of the property, where I would have a little bit more space, which, as you could see from the lot survey, the reason why the house sits on such a far side of the property is because of that ledge rock and the slope. So I don't have really much other space to place it other than in the front of the house, which I really don't think would be desired by anybody, myself especially. And so those were that's kind of where I've left with to place them.
Would you like to add anything else, or that covers it all from your perspective?
I think that covers it all.
We'll open it up now to our board engineer's report. David?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, reading from the report of October 16, 2024. I did visit the property. I met Mr. Erler out on the property. And as he indicated, there's no changes proposed other than the 2 proposed accessory structures. They've got the 1-foot setback where 15 foot is required. I point out that when I was out there, the proposed garden shed actually is constructed, so it exists on the site right now. And the other structure for the firewood storage was being proposed, and the materials were there, and it's waiting to see if the board will grant the approval to do that particular structure. As Mr. Erler pointed out, there's a couple other structures on the property, and as pointed out on item number 3D, he's got a total of 4. 3 are allowed, and he wants to keep the 4, as I understand it.
Yes, please.
Okay. With regards to just some clarification between, just so it's clear for the record, the plans indicated one size and the application indicated another size. And maybe Mr. Erler can just put that on the record to clarify it?
Yeah, the plan is accurate. It's a 4, I think I put, sorry. The proposed garden shed is accurate as per plan, 14 foot by 8 foot, and the firewood covered storage, 20 foot by 8 foot.
Okay, just so that's clear on the record. With regards to stormwater, again, the total impervious is going to be less than 500 square feet. I believe we calculated it out at 280 square feet, so no additional stormwater mitigation under the township's ordinance is required. They're not proposing any, as I understand it, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, no changes in the lighting are proposed, no additional lights on the shed, no septic or sewer service to the shed. Subsequent to my inspection and the preparation of this report, I did have that there was no water service proposed to the two sheds, but maybe Mr. Erler could comment on that because I understand that may have changed.
Yeah, if at all possible, I would like to put a small, like, utility sink in the shed so I could wash off, tools and that kind of thing. Hose bib on the outside for a garden hose, that kind of stuff.
So I just pointed that out so that the appropriate permits, if the board grants approval, could be obtained from the construction official, and also to let the board know that's the limit of what they're proposing to do as far as utilities go. No new landscaping. The lot is very nicely landscaped. No signage, no environmental impact statement. I didn't see anything that raised concern environmentally. And basically, the permits they would need, if it's approved by the board, is from the construction official for both the buildings and the plumbing that you're discussing. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, David. Marissa, can you please call on the board members for any comments or questions?
John Finkelty,
I have no comment.
Michael Josephic,
No comments.
Richard LaRufa.
Just one question, Dave. What constitutes a wood storage shed being a structure? I mean, people store wood between trees, and, it's not that it's two levels where you're going to be working in there. Why is this considered a structure in this case?
I think in this case, because there actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, there actually is going to be a roof on the structure.
That would be accurate, yeah, there would be a plastic
There's going to be a roof on the fire storage, not just supports for firewood. That makes
Okay.
the difference.
That's my only question.
Richard Rohrbacher.
I have a question. I'm a little confused because in your application stating the dimensions of the tool shed, it's given in inches. And it says it's 169 inches wide and 20 inches deep. I think that's a typo.
That would in fact be a typo, yes. It's it's 14 feet wide, 8 feet deep.
8 feet, so that would be...
96 inches.
Roughly 96 inches.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted, other than that, I don't have any questions. It just, it bothered me.
Thank you.
Not doing much for 20 inches.
Mark Scott.
This is, all the neighbors were informed of this, right? Because this is right on the lot line, right? Correct? It's 1 foot off the lot line.
Notice was given.
Instead of 15 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I comment that for just a second? So my immediate direct neighbor, who sits right there, I asked him prior to, so the garden shed is, as Mr. Simmons pointed out, the garden shed is there. The reason it's there is because, well, first of all, frankly, I didn't know that I needed a permit for a shed, which, after being corrected on it, I had no problem applying for it. But also because it was, I had to take it, I got it for free. So they're like, take it now, or, we're throwing it in the garbage. So, okay. So before I placed the shed, I asked George if he had any issues with it. He did not. After being corrected that I needed the permit and then a variance, I checked in with him again, and again, he said, nope, not a problem. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the shed is located behind the fence.
It is, yes.
I drove by.
Yes.
Landon Teneri.
I have no questions or comments.
Jennifer Pinaha.
No questions.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
No questions. All right, Eric, do you have any other testimony you want to provide or not?
No, not at this
All
time.
right, thank you. I'll now open it to the public. If anyone has any questions or comments on this application, please come forward.
Jesse Wolosky, I am a...
It's still under oath, Jesse, so.
Yes, I am a neighbor.
Right.
I'm the property to the left of Eric and behind Eric. And then there's one neighbor contiguous on the right side. So I'm the contiguous neighbor to the back and to the left.
All right, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
Yes.
And spell your last name, please?
Wolosky.
Yes. And you're a Sparta resident, is that correct?
Go ahead, Jesse.
Sure.
What are your questions?
So there's a reason why there's an ordinance for a 3-shed max, because it becomes overwhelming to the neighbors. So I can see everything in the back. And this would be a 4th shed. Also, what's not on the diagram is on the left side, there's a big-ass house tree, something like 20 feet by 20 feet. On the right side, what's not over here is a pile of wood that's maybe 5 or 6 feet tall, all the way going to that first shed on the right side. Now, I know in the HOA rules, you're not supposed to put any shed or storage area in front of the house. I'm not sure if the HOA allows a shed on the side of the house, even though it's behind the fence. No one on the street, if you drive by anybody's house, you can't see a shed. Sheds are usually behind the house. So here we have a row of wood on the right side that's maybe 80 feet long, 6 feet high. We have 2 sheds behind the fence. We have a shed in the back. We have a tree house on the left side. And, I think it's wrong. I think that's why you have an ordinance, to have like a max of 3 sheds and not go to 4, and not go to 5, and not go to 6. And I'll
Eric,
answer
would
any
you
of your
like to respond
questions.
to those comments, please? And then we'll have our board engineer, David, if he has any comments.
Okay. Yeah, so it is 2 sheds, a firewood storage, and then the 4th structure is like a pool house restroom that is yet to be constructed. The tree house, or the tree fort, has no regulations for it and is not considered part of an accessory structure. In fact, I checked on it before I constructed it for my girls and made sure that, there weren't any permits that were needed, or codes that had to be followed for it. So it's not part of the application process. The firewood is absolutely, you're right. I mean, there's a big pile of firewood in the yard, which is why I need the firewood storage. I heat my house, by oil, and trying to cut back on the oil, so I installed like the firewood insert. I burn approximately 5 cords of wood a year, and so I need the storage to be able to keep that dry, especially with the catalytic converter that's in that insert. It needs extremely dry wood, or it'll burn out the catalytic converter. So I have the need for it. I don't believe them to be eyesores or excessive. They match in color to the house, blend in fairly well, and I don't believe that they are a detriment to the neighborhood.
All right, thank you. David, do you have any comments on what Jesse had mentioned?
I can tell the board this, that when I did meet the applicant out on site, the proposed sheds are in fact behind the fence and behind the front line of the existing dwelling on the lot. At the point when I was out there on the site, he did mention a 4th structure. I believe it's one of the small structures, about 5 foot by 5 foot by the pool.
That would be accurate.
And I'm looking at sheet number 1 of 2, and again, it's at the northerly end of the pavers around the existing swimming pool, and as I scaled it off approximately, it's about 5 foot by 5 foot, I believe, just for some pool equipment, correct?
Yes, that little box there, that 5 foot by 5 foot box, is the pool house restroom that I was referring to earlier.
Right. So it's, from my personal observations inspecting the site, it's a relatively small structure, but it does go over the 3 that are allowed.
But they're all inside the fence, just so when I'm writing a resolution?
Yes.
Thanks, Dave.
I want to make sure to clarify that, so that the one on the corner there, the proposed 14 by 8, 14 foot by 8 foot shed, the fence meets the structure. It is, it's not technically behind, because for me, behind would be physically behind something, but it would be behind the fence line. If that fence continued
part
past
of
it,
the fence line.
that would be accurate.
Even though there's no fence on
That would be
on
accurate,
side.
yes.
On the side yard, not the front. The front that's behind the fence.
Side, yes.
Yeah, the side fence. not-
I don't know whether you guys got the big plans, but you can actually see it on the big survey.
All right, thank you. Jesse, you have any more questions in regards to the application?
I would just say, again, I'm not sure whether regarding HOA rules, if you can have a shed on the side of your house. I know you cannot have one in front because the previous owner put a shed in front, and back then, it was a group of neighbors that were living there for a long time, so they followed the rules. But after COVID, we got like a lot more, everybody's brand new, a lot of new neighbors, and I don't know if the new neighbors are part of the board of the HOA and if they know all the rules.
Glenn, could you comment on that?
Yeah, I'm not going, I am going to, but I'm not going to. The answer is, all you should be talking about is what you know. If any neighbors are here that also want to testify, they can. You should just tell,
I think I did that.
I didn't say you didn't. You're not listening.
I am listening, actually.
Well, then let me talk. You can't speak for other people. You can speak for yourself, and that's fine, which is what you did. If there are other neighbors here that want to make comments, that's perfectly acceptable. We're trying to figure out which lot you actually live on.
So if you look where it says 35006, lot 49,
Lot 49's over here, John.
like the triangle there, and then the whole thing on the left side.
Over the hill, on top of the hill.
Yeah, I have a flag lot.
He's right, so his driveway goes here, and his lot is in the center of all of these, see?
Okay, and he's got a non-conforming lot because he's got a flag lot, I
Right.
guess.
Exactly.
And I get to see, and that's the front of my house. So the front of my house is the back of his house. So I see everything and I hear everything.
But he's also got a flag lot.
And the front of his house is here, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Eric, can you do anything to accommodate his concerns or not?
What can be done?
I mean, unfortunately, Mr. Woloski lives on the hill behind me. So unless the board would allow me to erect, like a 50-foot, screen, I don't know how to
don't think so.
accommodate, the visual challenges. Mr. Woloski recently took down a whole bunch of trees, which perhaps could, were some of the visual barrier. But, again, I can't do anything about where the lot is located.
All right, thank you.
So usually, if somebody builds also a swimming pool, they put maybe like evergreen trees as a barrier. The trees that I removed were just long-ass evergreen trees that basically leaves would fall in. And actually, if you have solar panels, you're going to get more sun and you're going to get less leaves in your pool. But if you if you put up some evergreen trees, that block block the view, then I wouldn't see your pool, and maybe the evergreen trees would also take away some of the noise from the summertime.
And I would agree with that
you would?
statement. And I did plant 4 Norwegian spruces. They just take time.
So there are special trees, that the evergreen that totally block every 3 feet, and they're just strong and tall, and that would be more privacy for you and more privacy for me.
So Eric, you would agree for a potential condition upon approval to have the landscaping and trees and so forth to mitigate?
I
The view and the
would be
noise.
open to, again, I have no issue with planting additional trees. It's just, I mean,
The
I
sight lines.
can't bring in a 50-foot, you
And
know,
again, you'd be open to that?
I would be open,
All right.
absolutely.
Basically, if you Google what are trees for, blocking up, it comes up on Google what trees, like, maybe these would be also good trees, like for like the warehouse, you could put trees in front of the warehouse to block the warehouse view. So there are those kind of evergreen trees that would block like a 30-foot area. When Thorough Labs opened in Newton, one neighbor, the parking area went right into coming in and out of the parking lot, the lights went right into his house, and Thorough Labs put trees right in front.
All right, Jesse, so Eric said he would do some type of landscaping there and so forth, so I'll have that in the resolution. Okay?
Yes, I don't know about okay, but.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public have any comments, questions in regards to this application?
Dave, I got a quick question.
Seeing no-
I got a
Okay.
quick question for Dave. So he brought up an interesting aspect. If this wood is used for fuel for his house, to heat the house, how is that different than putting up a propane tank, an outside propane tank, or an above-ground oil storage tank? Yeah, I'm getting to the question of a structure.
No,
it's
I understand.
kind of a very gray area.
The only thing I can add about, for example, propane tank, if it was not buried, if it was above ground, there are certain codes required from the Plumbing and Heating Code and Gas
Correct.
Propane Society, and safety codes that require it to be certain distances as well. I don't believe those same codes pertain to the shed.
No, I don't mean that. I mean in terms of this being a structure. Again, a propane tank, you usually bolt down to a concrete pad.
Right.
Okay?
Or bury.
Or whatever.
Right.
But I'm saying if it's above ground.
Okay.
And theoretically, you could put an oil tank above ground.
Yes, you could.
You can. And again, what is a structure there at that point, if this is considered a heating source?
Rich, most of the time, wood piles are not considered structures. I think what triggers it is the fact that there's going to be a roof over it or some covering over the top. If it was just open and you just had,
A blue tarp.
Yeah, what about a tarp?
Who wants to see a blue tarp?
No, but I'm just saying, but if you put the tarp over the
Tarp?
wood, does that make it a structure?
no. Because it doesn't meet the uniform construction code stuff that Davey's
This is
talking
going to
about.
be an actually physically stick-built constructed shed with a stick-built roof shingles and what have you, correct?
Accurate.
Okay.
All right, anyone else in the
I'm
public
sorry,
have any?
actually, just, no, not shingles.
Standing seam,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's going to be a structure,
accurate.
yes.
Okay, anyone else in the public have any questions or comments on this application? Seeing no one else, it's now closed to the public. The chair will entertain a motion approving this application. If not, the chair will make the motion.
I'd make the motion with Ken giving the
Have some
details of the
amendments, Mr.
motion.
Finkeldy, that you'll
Okay,
accept?
great, yep.
We'll have our board attorney prepare the resolution approving application 16-24, block 35006, lot 48, Eric and Allison area. How do you pronounce your last name, Eric?
Earler.
Earl? For C variance relief with the side yard variance being 14 feet, David?
Yes,
Thank you. And also with the applicant providing some landscaping according to all plans and testimony submitted here tonight in adherence to our board engineer's report, and also having the approvals of building permits, et cetera, from our township construction
Can
official.
can I just ask a quick question? You said 14 feet. Is that a reduction by 14 feet, do you mean?
It's just what you asked for.
Okay. I want to make sure that it wasn't
Just
like
what-
the
it's just what
setback
you asked for.
becomes 14
Not-
feet. It's a reduction.
Not to worry.
Okay.
That's good.
I'll be quiet.
Now, so John, you accept those amendments?
I do.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think you also need a variance, if you're so inclined,
Yes.
for 4 sheds as opposed to 3.
Yes, you're correct, David. And John, do you accept that?
I do.
Thank you, David.
And, Mr. Chairman, it'll be, David will just review whatever landscaping the applicant is going to do to make sure that it kind of accomplishes its purpose, because it's easier for David to do it than anybody else, I think.
Yes, thank you.
Okay?
Do we have a second?
Second.
But you can whisper away, did you?
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkelty,
Yes.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa.
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Len Antoneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. Congratulations, your application's been approved. Would you also like to waive your right to a written resolution?
Yes.
Board entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkelty,
Yes.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Len Antoneri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Next application, 17-24, John Randy Earl for C variance. Please come forward.
Sir, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight? So help you God. What is your name, sir?
John Earl.
John, you're going to have to keep your voice up so Marissa gets you on tape, but you can sit down and just make sure you kind of work the microphone like a lounge singer or something, okay?
Sure.
And how can we help you, John?
I'm looking for variances for an existing property. It's block 27004, lot 5. It's 16 Glen Road. It's on Lower Glen Road, just up from Main Street. There's an existing two-story dwelling on the plot that will stay intact except for the porch that's on the back now, which will be removed. There will be an addition of about 8 by 18 feet put on the back, and then that will accommodate a full second story. So it'll be a 4-bedroom, 2-story building in the end. It's currently a non-conforming lot, approximately 50 feet by 140 feet deep. So currently, there's obviously many non-conforming items on it, including front yard setbacks, side yard setbacks, accessory structures, setbacks.
Let me make it simple, Mr. Chairman. You got a copy of Dave Simmons' October 9th report, did you not?
Yes.
And he listed all the variances. Do you disagree with his,
Yes.
with his table?
And-
Okay.
They are listed on the-
Variance he needs, the impervious coverage, David?
Say again, Mr. Chairman?
He just needs the impervious coverage variance.
Correct.
All the other variances are existing variances.
That is correct.
Thank you.
That is correct.
So basically, the impervious coverage goes from 36% to 36.9%. And like I say, the addition lies within the building envelope, so that's not going to increase any variances that already exist.
Again, it's just the impervious coverage variance, John.
Well, but you'll have to include all the bulk variances that already exist, obviously.
You have any other testimony you want to supply on the addition, it's wood deck, et cetera?
Basically, it's somewhat self-explanatory what's on the plan.
And David, would you be so kind to go over your report?
Certainly,
Please.
Mr. Chairman. And again, for the record, I'm referring to the report we prepared dated October 9th, 2024. And going over to sheet number 2 of the report, with regards to the variances, we discussed them and referenced them. The impervious coverage is the variance that's being requested, but I noted other conditions that are existing, but I believe it's the board's policy agreement that they'll grant the variances for those to memorialize them as well. With regards to item number 4, the variance plan, I noted a few things. The existing driveway going into the site is in need of repaving, and it encroaches over to adjacent lot, tax lot 4, by about 0.4 of a foot in one area. When the paving work is done, I'd recommend that that encroachment be taken care of.
Correct.
Okay. Item 4B, the existing garage in the southerly corner of the property is in need of repair. Are there plans?
That'll
to-
be renovated and on the same footprint it is on now, so
Okay.
no increase in variance there.
Item C, there's an existing 275-gallon fuel oil tank in the rear of the dwelling that's not shown on the plan that I saw when I inspected the site. Applicant to advise if the tank will be relocated or how the heating oil tank will be handled.
Right, it will not be oil heat anymore. It'll be electric heat pumps, so that'll be removed and not replaced.
Okay. Item 4D, the dimensions of the proposed addition, 8 foot by 18.08 feet, by my calculations, comes out to 145 square feet, which was used in the impervious coverage calculations. The plan calls for 214 square feet, the addition area to be clarified.
The drawings will be amended
Okay.
To what? To the bigger number?
to the smaller number that
The smaller number.
he referenced.
Smaller number, okay.
Okay. On page 3, with regards to the utilities, and item number 5, existing dwelling is served by water from Sparta Township Water Department,
Correct.
and that's going to continue. I do point out, I can't stress this enough, the town of Newton's 16-inch water transmission main comes down Glen Road, and that's not shown on the plan. And this is Dave saying this for the record. When you go to revise the plan,
We
you should
will
have
revise
Newton
the
come
plan
out
this
and
year.
locate that.
I was there when it was hit in Andover.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah, the excavator wouldn't stop hitting. He thought it was a rock.
Yeah, so bottom line is, we don't want you to have a problem. So I'm
Yes.
bringing that up.
Or Newton, for that matter, right?
We don't want anybody to have a problem with this, especially Dave.
It'll be noted on the drawings.
Okay, good. They are changing item 5B with regards to sewer. The septic system is going away, and they're going to tie into the township sewer
Correct,
system.
and there is a sewer tie-in, so we don't have to dig up the street.
Okay, good. And electric's coming off of Glen Road. You'll just have to verify whether there's an easement where it crosses your neighbor's lot.
The line in question is a phone line, which will be removed during demolition and probably will not be replaced.
Okay.
Anyway, and if it is, it'll be replaced to the northeast, or the northeast corner.
So the encroachment
post.
would be eliminated.
So the encroachment will be eliminated.
Okay, good. There's a net increase in impervious coverage of about 70 square feet, which is less than the 500 square feet by the township's ordinance, so that's not an issue. With regards to the architectural plans, any new HVAC system exterior to the building?
Most likely, there'll be 2 heat pump condensers outside, and they'll go either on the side of the deck, and the deck will be tucked in, or behind the deck, so it
So it'll
won't
be in the
encroach
rear.
on the easement area, or the side yard area.
And I noted that the existing dwelling has 2 bedrooms, and if I understood the plans right, you're going to make it into a 4-bedroom
Correct.
dwelling. Okay. There wasn't an environmental impact statement provided for the application, but again, based on my observations out in the field, other than what I've noted, I didn't see any issues. I list in item number 9 the various approvals that I believe would be required. Probably have to get a Highlands exemption.
It's not in the preservation area, so I was told that it's in the planning area, so it does not need an exemption.
Okay, just as a double check it, okay? And upon completion of the project, if the board grants approval, just an as-built so we can verify all the dimensions and variances and what have you are adhered to. And that's my report, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
David. Marissa, would you please call on the board members for comments and questions they may have?
John Finkeldy,
I have no questions.
Michael Josephic,
No questions.
Rich LaRufa.
Dave, just one quick question. He's
Yes, sir.
testified that the impervious coverage is going from 36 to 36.9%, and you said it's only 70 square feet. I just want to confirm that it's a very minor increase from the existing variance. That's all I want to confirm.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Richard Rohrbacher,
No questions.
Mark Scott,
No questions.
Lennon Tenieri,
No questions.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Oh, yes. John, will you be covering the deck
No,
and no lighting?
no.
All right. We usually put that in as conditions in our approvals, okay?
That's fine.
All right, thank you. I'll now open it to the,
Do you get a chance to go?
I have no questions.
Excuse me, Jennifer. No.
I'll now open it to the public for any comments or questions they may have. Please come forward. Seeing no one, it's now closed to the public. And the chair will entertain a motion approving this application. So the chair will make a motion to have our board attorney prepare a resolution for application 17-24, block 27004, lot 5, John Earl, for C variance relief, pervious coverage of 21.9%, with the conditions the deck not be covered and also no lighting on the deck, according to all plans and testimony submitted here tonight, in adherence to all points in our board engineer's report, and also to provide as-built plans upon completion of the project, signed by a licensed New Jersey surveyor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkeldy,
Yes.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lennon Tenieri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. John, would you like to waive your right to a written resolution?
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion. Second, please.
Second.
Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkeldy,
Yes.
Michael Josephic,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Lennon Tenieri,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. Congratulations and good luck. Last application tonight is 18-24, Ryan and Kristen Flynn for C variance relief. Please come forward.
I have these for reference as well, if, in case you need to quickly reference them, but everyone should have a copy of them.
Are you both going to be testifying?
I believe it will just be me, if you can.
No, no, no. She has a chance to say whatever she wants to. Put your hands in the air, please. Do you both swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
We do.
What is your name, ma'am?
Kristen Flynn.
A little louder.
Kristen Flynn.
And who are you?
I'm
Right.
the wife.
I know you're the wife. I got that right. Who's the guy next to you, though?
Ryan Flynn.
Okay.
Then please speak loudly and clear enough into the microphone. And
Sure.
how can we help you?
So we reside at 6 Pierce Street, here in Sparta, which is lot 4, block 3013, lot 4. We are proposing and asking to do an addition off the front of our house. It's extending the garage, two-car bay garage out by 8 feet and extending the 2 bedrooms that exist above the garage out by 8 feet as well, over the driveway. Basically, both bedrooms are fairly small. They're about 10 by 11, and they're both of our boys' bedrooms. We have two boys, 12 and 9, as of 2 weeks ago. 4 sport athletes that are growing like a weed, to say the least. So they have a lot of equipment between football, lacrosse, basketball, and ice hockey. And so the bedrooms are getting very, very tight at this moment. So we are asking to do an addition which requires a set of variances, some of our bulk existing, as well as an impervious coverage, front yard setback, and a side yard setback.
we explored this conversation probably about 2 years ago amongst ourselves. We consulted with an architect. They actually advised and advised us to build up. Unfortunately, the right side of the house, if you're looking at the house from the front, it has cathedral ceilings with beams already, and so it basically goes up to the roof. That was there when we purchased the house 10.5 years ago. So to do an addition up would only actually be on one side of the house, on the left. We did not like the idea of that. We actually tabled it for about 1.5 years before reconvening to come forth with this application. We didn't like the aesthetics of it, and we also thought it would actually be out of aesthetically conformance with our neighborhood, which is generally bi-level homes. We discussed moving, which my boys and my family and I chose not to move at this point. We are basically very, very heavily tied to the community with a lot of residents and friends that we consider family at this point. So the proposed addition is to add about 200 square feet, which is really just extending the bedrooms out and extending the garage. The impervious coverage would go up, as you can see. I think it's existing 18.2 today. It would be just 19.2. And then obviously there's the front yard setback off the street, which I believe there would be 3 houses still actually closer to the street just in our cul-de-sac alone. I think that kind of summarizes our application and what we're looking to do and asking for.
Would your wife like to add anything?
Just my boys are getting taller and bigger than me, and they just deserve to be able to have a full-size bed versus a twin-size bed at this point.
All right, thank you. David, if you're so kind.
Yes, sir,
your
Mr.
report.
Chairman. For the record, referring to the report we prepared dated October 29th, 2024, as the Flynn's described their application with regards to the zoning, the bulk variances. Again, the new variances are the left side setback, 30-foot minimum required. They're proposing 18.1 feet. The total side yards are supposed to be at least 60 feet. The totals of their particular house would be 41.6, and the impervious coverage, 18% max, and there we'd be going up to 19.2%. The other variances, and a front yard setback, 75-foot minimum required, 54.3 feet proposed under the addition that they're proposing to add. The other variances that I added on were basically variances, but they're existing conditions that aren't being enlarged or changed by this application. With regards to the variance plan, if they could note any enlarged HVAC systems that are going to be exterior to the dwelling?
There's the existing HVAC. I haven't had those discussions yet with an electrical or HVAC contractor, but I would anticipate that we're not going to be adding anything at this point.
Okay. And I just point out that based on the survey that was presented, there is one section of the chain link fence around the swimming pool that is shown encroaching onto the adjacent tax lot 3 by about 9/10 of a foot. We could correct that?
Yeah,
Okay.
if required, I will certainly have the chain link fence move back the.
Okay. Again, they're connected to the water system in town. They do have an existing septic system. My understanding is the number of bedrooms is going to remain the same, just enlarged.
Yes.
So it should be all right, but I usually recommend the county health department, just for purposes of keeping up with their records, review and approve the plan. With regards to electric, that's coming off of Pierce Street. With regards to storm drainage, again, the proposed addition is approximately 196 square feet. They're less than the 500 square feet, so no mitigation is required by the township ordinance. I did point out that the plan should show where the gutter system is going to be directed to. We talked about the architectural plans. You're still keeping 4 bedrooms. There was no EIS provided. I point out the county health department, the construction official, and the water department, just to verify they're all satisfied with the plans if the board approves it. And again, just to verify that all the variances are addressed appropriately during construction. If the board approves it and it's constructed, they have their licensed New Jersey land surveyor provide an as-built plan. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, David. Marissa, if you could call on the board members for any comments and questions, please.
John Finkley.
I have
I
no,
just add one thing, just I forgot to note, there is a small portico that's going to go over the existing front stoop as well in the plans. Just wanted to highlight that as well.
All right, David?
Yes, that was pointed out in my report, too.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Marissa.
John Finkley.
I have no questions.
Michael Joseph.
No questions.
Richard LaRufa.
Dave, the side yard setbacks, they already exist with the existing building, just that you're bringing them out since you're adding on, it's
Yes.
continuous. So
Yes, it's a
They're not
continuation.
increasing the side yard
I don't
setbacks.
believe so, correct?
No, it's going to remain the 10.1. Yeah,
Just wanna
we're coming
confirm
straight
that.
to the road. It's-
That's it.
Richard Rohrbacher.
No questions.
Mark Scott.
The variance issue here is just the enlarged HVAC system?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
The variance issue here is just the enlarged HVAC system?
No.
I'm sorry,
The-
I'm missing something.
The variances involved, the new variances?
Yes.
Front yard setback, because they're extending the garage, if you will, in the bedroom, where 75 feet minimum is required. What they're proposing with their addition is 54.3 feet.
But they're already within that, right? I mean, they're
Oh,
already.
it's going closer to the front
Right,
yard.
it's, okay, it's an additionally, right? I see,
Yes,
okay.
that and the additional impervious.
All right, I understand. now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Landon Teneri.
I have no questions.
Jennifer Panaha.
No questions.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
No questions. I'll now open it to the public. If anyone in the public has any comments or questions, please come forward. Seeing no one in the public, it's now closed to the public, back to the board, which will entertain a motion approving the application.
I make the motion. I'd like to,
Second.
Will there be some amendments to Mr. Finkelde's motion if he
And-
accepts it?
yeah, go ahead, Ken.
We'll have our board attorney prepare the resolution for application 18-24, block 3013, lot 4, for Ryan and Kristen Flynn for C variance relief. Front yard, 20.7 feet. Left side, 11.9 feet. Pervious coverage, 1.2%. And total side yard, 18.4. And are they correct, David?
Yes.
Thank you. According to all plans and testimony submitted here tonight, and of course adhering to all points in our board engineer's report, and also to provide as-built plans upon completion of the project signed off by a licensed New Jersey survey. So now can we have a second?
Now we can do a second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkley.
Yes.
Michael Joseph.
Yes.
Richard LaRufa.
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher.
Yes.
Mark Scott.
The motion included the fence issue, correct? Did I?
The fence encroachment you're talking about, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because it's in David's report.
Yes.
Okay.
They agreed.
If you want to call that separately, we can do that, but it's
No,
in
no,
Dave's
I-
report.
But it will get done, right?
But of course.
Okay, thank you, yes, yes,
Yes. Landon Teneri.
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. And would you also like to waive your right to a written resolution?
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Marissa, please call the roll.
John Finkley.
Yes.
Michael Joseph.
Yes.
Richard LaRufa.
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher.
Yes.
Mark Scott.
yes.
Landon Teneri.
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Now, anyone else in the public would like to come forward and comment on issues or questions not on the agenda tonight? No? Okay, it's now closed to the public. The chair will entertain a motion adjourning.
I make the motion.
Second, please.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. No discussion. No discussion on that.
We ain't discussing.
No conditions.
I will never go home.
I always ask for discussion.